How are you doing today?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing well. Coach, I have to ask you a tough question. You're taking a lot of heat for the one-game suspension of Jeffrey Simmons. And I'm just curious, given the current climate of college football with an intense focus on violence against women and with a lot of people watching, fans, administrators, other players, can you tell us what went into that decision for one game? I know you said it wasn't entirely on you, but really curious about that.
Well, you know, like I said, I wasn't involved in that. There were parts of everything that went on in the Jeffrey Simmons decision that I was involved in. And, you know, the university made that decision. As I said, I'm just very happy that we have him in our family. For us, as a young man, that being given an opportunity to get a college education, to go succeed in life, and you know, and hopefully for him not have his life defined by 10 seconds of video.
But as a husband and a father, do you think that was the appropriate punishment for putting his hands on a woman?
You know, I to be honest, I never really thought about it with the punishment decision. I was more involved in whether he deserved an opportunity to come to Mississippi State or not.
Left side, second row.
Dan, just looking at it hypothetically, you do have a freshman quarterback bidding for time. Just how tough can it be for a freshman quarterback to win in this conference?
Yeah, I don't like dealing with hypotheticals, but our quarterback question is going to become a bigger reality more than a hypothetical here very, very shortly, and it could be Nick Tiano as a redshirt freshman coming in. I think it is tough. I think one of the biggest challenge of that is the young man coming on the field and a lot of times being in that stadium for the first time. Even a guy that maybe didn't get a lot of reps, didn't start, didn't play, they've been in the stadium before, they've seen the crowd, they've been in the hype now, and they've seen it all up live and in person. You know, I mean, you look, I think Game 3, we're going down to LSU. Has the time been set for that? It's generally a Saturday night game, 6 o'clock. So that's a wild atmosphere for a guy's first road game. Can always be tough, but you know, as coaches, we got to make sure we're putting guys in a position where they can be successful.
Right side, front row.
What did you feel the first time you saw the video of Jeffrey Simmons' incident with the woman?
You know what? You saw it. I saw a bunch of different angles. So I saw, actually, the first one I saw didn't look like much went on. I saw several different other angles of it afterwards. But like anybody in the position I'm in, I wanted to, you know, I took that in, and then I wanted to investigate and find out as much as we possibly could, and do a complete, thorough investigation on well beyond just a little bit the video that's shown of the whole situation, what went on before, what went on after, what led up to it. Everything that was involved in the situation, and you know, everybody that knows him and has known him for years, and so you know, I know I did a thorough investigation. I know the university did a very thorough investigation. I was, you know, everything that was done as a university decision, which I'm a part of the university, and I was consulted on some of my thoughts of what happened, but and what I'd seen and what I'd realized, or what I'd learned, I'm sorry, during as we're investigating it all.
Right side in the back.
Coach, congratulations on the personal achievement in April. Has it changed your use of the phrase, it's a marathon, not a sprint, since then?
It is today. I wore my Yeezys today, you know, because you got to be a little swagged out for media days. But this event, I did think of wearing my my Ultra Boosts that I ran the marathon in, because today is much more of a marathon than a sprint here at Media Day. So I almost broke out the marathon shoes to come and wear here today.
On the right, third row in the aisle.
Dan, you had mentioned last year after Coach Collins left that as long as you're the head coach, the Mississippi State defense isn't going to change. What are some of those principles that won't change given all the transition you've had at that defensive coordinator position?
Yeah, I mean, the number one thing is you're going to have 11 guys running the ball as hard as possible. That's really, really important to me. Number two, we got to stop the run, because to be successful, you got to stop the run. There's not one way to do it. There's different ways you can do it. You got to stop the run. And then we're going to be a very aggressive, attacking style defense. I don't want to just play bend but don't break defense. There's times we'll have to, but I want to be attacking style defense. We want to get after and attack and make the offense uncomfortable in everything that they do. Schematically, well, there's little things, but your schematics are going to change every year, not just by coach, but by players. That, one of the things that you have to do to be a successful football coach is making sure you look at the players you have and let's go put them in a position to be successful. And as coaches, we have to be flexible. And so as long as our general philosophy is not going to change, we're not going to change a lot in what we do. We're going to change off of our personnel. We're going to have a little different personality because there's different coaches that are in the room right now. Different guys calling the defense are going to have different personalities to them of how the game plays out a little bit. So those things will change a little bit, but overall the defense and what I believe our defense to be will not change.
Right side, third row.
Scheme-wise, what are we going to see differently on offense, maybe, as far as not being able to do some of the things that having a player of Dak's caliber allowed you to get away with?
Well, I don't know. There's some things our quarterback, whoever the quarterback is probably going to do better than Dak, and there's some things that they're going to do worse than Dak. And the immediate attention will go to what they do worse than Dak, I would imagine, as everybody's trying to compare them. But I think one thing, when you're playing a younger quarterback, you got to be able to run the football a little bit more. We got to be better in the running game this year than we were last year. And I think just a little bit more emphasis on it. Not that, I don't know, that we weren't great in the running game. We just didn't have a huge emphasis on it last year because of the personnel we had. We had a deep receiving core. We had a veteran, experienced quarterback. We had a young offensive line. We were going to kind of spread the ball out a little bit more. Now we have 3 starters back on the O-line with some more guys that have started games. We have all our running backs back, and we got a younger quarterback this year and a little bit not as deep a receiving core. And so for us, it'll just kind of change a little bit of how we approach every single game.
Last 2 questions. First one right here.
Coach, how much rope do you give Simmons this season? I mean, how many missteps, if there are any?
Well, I'll say this. He's just gotten into our program. Like all of our freshmen that have gotten into our program. He's done everything that has been asked of him so far. I've gotten nothing but extremely positive results from everybody that's had any dealing with him on campus. Even gotten multiple emails from people that had no idea who he was and then asked afterwards who he was, and very, very positive things to say about him. So everything that he's done on campus as part of our family so far has been extremely positive.
Left side.
Dan, you said in the other room that you were thrilled to have Jeffrey. I'm just curious, in that video, if it was your wife or your daughter, would you feel the same way about him and your treatment of him?
With my treatment of Jeffrey, I'm thrilled to have him in our family because I think he's a young man that deserves an opportunity in life. And I have the opportunity to help mold him.
But if it was your family member, would you feel the same way?
I don't know. I don't think it would be my family. I don't deal in hypotheticals really. So, but anybody. I mean, in the video, I don't know that my family would be in that situation in the first part. To be honest with you.
Why not?
I don't.
Anybody can be on the ground being assaulted.
No, just in the investigation of everything that happened like that. Obviously, I'm very strongly against any violence towards women. I'm really against violence towards anybody, to be perfectly honest with you, in that situation. But I think in investigating the whole thing, the whole story, and everything that went on, there was a lot more than 10 seconds of video in that investigation. And, and so I am a young man that I think that video does not really define who that young man is. In knowing him for 4 years now, knowing him and seeing what he's done as part of our family and part of our family on campus now, I think that was very uncharacteristic of him as a young man. And so I would hate, and not just him, honestly, I would hate for anybody for their life to be defined by only 10 seconds of video of your life, and especially when you're a young 18-year-old, and things you do in your life. And I would hate for that to be anybody that is now all that you get to do in life, that you don't have an opportunity to get an education, that you don't get an opportunity to be mentored by father figures when you don't have a father. I think you deserve the opportunity to be mentored by father figures. I think you deserve the opportunity to still get an education. I think you deserve an opportunity to better yourself and make something yourself in your life.